In the last lesson, we talked about the knowledge factory and explained how it's slightly different for lawyers. But the key thing to keep in mind is that your knowledge is the most valuable thing you have to sell to clients. And of course, you must use modern technology to do your knowledge work. And yet, all too often, we find ourselves frustrated in trying to do our knowledge work. Why is that? Is it because of the complexity of technology, or is it something else? I propose it's something other than the mere complexity of technology. Specifically, it's caused by the difference in how knowledge work must be done as opposed to traditional work. Think about the difference between traditional factory workflows and the workflows we have now. In a traditional factory, you have tangible parts that you assemble together in one place during a workday that starts at 9 a.m. and ends at 5 p.m. This is a simple, easy to organize work process because you're dealing with physical parts that you can see moving down an assembly line. You can see it by visiting the factory during regular work hours. Knowledge work is done in so-called knowledge factories and is completely different. So you can't run a knowledge factory using the assumptions and conventions of a traditional factory. In a knowledge factory, ideas are developed not in a single location like a physical building, but rather in many places, such as an office or your home or your car while you're driving or in a plane, or pretty much anywhere that you can think or work on your ideas. And you do this work not during a 9 to 5 time frame, but over a longer time, maybe weeks or months or even years. So the knowledge factory is completely different than the traditional industrial factory. And that means you can't use traditional assumptions about how work gets done, or you'll wind up feeling frustrated and confused. Doing work in a knowledge factory means you have to use different tools depending on what kind of knowledge work you're doing and where you're doing it. If you can use automation to blast out a bunch of emails by clicking on a button, then that's what you should do. The entire world is connected via the internet, so that's something you need to leverage as much as possible also. Of course, you know this intellectually, and yet you're still stymied and frustrated. And that's because you don't have a system for doing your knowledge work in a calm, organized, stress-free way. The ideal system for doing knowledge work allows you to develop ideas over a long time period, and to do this in many different places using different kinds of technology tools. You probably know you need to use better systems, but you struggle to develop these systems, and that prevents you from running your knowledge factory in a calm, efficient manner. Why is it so hard to create these systems that you know you need to create? Well, as I said earlier, it's because you're using the paradigm of a traditional factory instead of doing your work consistent with the way a knowledge factory operates. It's important for you to take full stock of the harsh reality when you're developing work over longer time periods and in many different places. You're more likely to get easily distracted or confused about what you need to do next. At any given moment, your thought processes can be disrupted. If you were working in a physical factory for set periods of time, you wouldn't have these distractions. But you're not living in the world of traditional factories. You're living in the information age. You're living in an always-on, always connected world. And the power this world offers is immense. Even if you wanted to, you can't disconnect from the global communications grid, because that's where all the data and information you need to do your knowledge work is. In the next lesson, I'll provide more insight into how you can avoid harmful distractions and stay focused on the important work you have to do. And by the way, the key word here is important work, because not all work is important. And you need to learn to distinguish between what's important and what's not important, so that you can create systems to do more of the important work that's valuable to you and your clients. Now, if you want to learn more about what I covered in this video, download my free guide entitled A Basic Guide to Working Smarter. It's a short PDF that will help you understand how to use technology better to make your practice more enjoyable and easier to manage. And in case you're wondering who I am, my name is Ernie Svensson, and I'm a New Orleans lawyer who spent 20 years in a big firm, started hating it until I started using technology, which allowed me to create a solo practice that was profitable, enjoyable, and super easy to manage. I started showing my fellow lawyers how to do this, which led to me being invited to speak to lawyer groups around the country, where I appeared on podcasts, wrote some books, and even earned a few awards. Over the past decade, I have helped hundreds of lawyers all around the country, and even some in foreign countries. And if you're ready, I'd love to help you too. Just visit my Law Firm Autopilot webpage and you can read more about what I do and get access to some valuable free resources. I hope you do. And if you do, I look forward to helping you in whatever way I can.